Okay, so let's dive right in. Picture this. You've got a literal god, Brahma, sitting down for a chat with the Buddha. And what are they talking about? Oh, just one of the biggest questions out there. What is the true nature of reality? It's a pretty epic conversation, and we're going to break it down. So Brahma kicks things off with this amazing question, one that I think we've all wondered about. He basically says, okay, I've heard this idea that everything is one, that it's all a unified whole. But that's not what I see when I look around. I see a world of separate things. There's my mind, and then there's a rock. There are people, there are gods. If it's all one seamless fabric, why does my life feel so chopped up into pieces? It's the perfect place to start, because it gets right to the heart of everything.
Now, you'd think the Buddha would launch into some super dense philosophical explanation, right? But he doesn't. He starts with something way simpler, a little clarification that completely reframes the entire problem. He's about to flip Brahma's whole way of thinking on its head.
And here it is. The Buddha says, form and mind are two dharmas with different names but one substance. So what he calls form is, the physical world, and what he calls mind is our inner world, thoughts, feelings, all that. He says these are just two different names we've given to the exact same stuff. This separation we feel, it's just in the labels we use. It's an illusion created by language.
To make this super clear, think about H2O. We call it ice when it's solid, water when it's a liquid, and steam when it's a gas, right? Three totally different names, three totally different forms and feelings. But underneath it all, what is it? It's all just H2O. The Buddha's saying reality is kind of like that. We put all these different labels on it, and then we start to believe the labels are real.
And this underlying one substance has a name in this teaching, true suchness. This is the ultimate, raw, unfiltered reality of what everything is before we start slapping our concepts and labels and judgments on it. It's the H2O before we decide if we're going to call it ice or water. It's just what is.
But Brahma, he's not totally sold yet. He's like, okay, I get the water analogy, but what about the really big stuff? What about all the fundamental opposites that make up our world? And then he starts to list them, basically confronting the Buddha with all the evidence from our daily lives. And what a list! He's talking about the difference between a person and a god, between being alive and being dead, light and dark, pleasure and pain, good and evil. I mean, these don't just feel like different names, do they? They feel like real, fundamental, rock-solid opposites. They're the basic building blocks, how we understand everything. So Brahma's follow-up question really takes it to the next level. He's asking, how can all these things that are mutually exclusive, things that logically can't be the same, all come from one, single, unified reality? It seems impossible. It just doesn't compute. And this is where the conversation takes a turn into the truly mind-bending. The Buddha's answer is that in the realm of true suchness, our normal rules of logic just break down. They don't apply. He uses the word inconceivable, which means you literally can't wrap your ordinary, dualistic mind around it. So check this out. In this ultimate reality, opposites don't fight. They can exist at the same time. Contradictions aren't mistakes in logic. They're just how things are. And everything, and I mean everything, sort of melts into everything else. The solid walls we think exist between things, yeah, they're not really there. And to illustrate just how weird this gets, the Buddha starts giving some examples that sound, well, just plain wrong to us. First, he says, in this reality, a horse can have horns. For us, part of the definition of a horse is that it doesn't have horns. But in true suchness, our neat little categories just don't hold up. Then he says, light and dark can be in the same place at the same time. Think about that. In our world, when you turn on a light, the darkness goes away. They can't coexist, but here they do. This isn't just poetry. It's a direct challenge to our basic understanding of how the universe works. And maybe the most profound one? He says a single moment can contain a whole eon, and a whole eon can be experienced in a single moment. Our entire sense of time as a straight line from past to present to future, it just dissolves. It's another one of those separations that isn't ultimately real. So at this point, Brahma asks the big one, the final question. He's basically saying, okay, enough theory. Cut to the chase. Just tell me, what is the real mark, the true, actual, unfiltered face of reality? If I could see it right now, what would it look like?
The Buddha's answer just comes out in this incredible cascade. He says the real mark isn't some pure heavenly light. It is hell and it is heaven. It is suffering and it is joy. It's the wise person and the foolish person. It's a good deed and an evil act. He's saying that ultimate reality isn't just the good parts we like. It includes all of it, the whole cosmic shebang.
And he keeps going, making it even more personal, more raw. The real mark is the love a parent feels, but it's also a prison cell. It's the horrific act of taking a life, and it's the beautiful act of saving one. It's the simple animal feeling of hunger. Nothing gets left out. Not one thing.
And this is maybe the most important part of all. True suchness isn't somewhere else. It isn't some far-off, mystical dimension. It's right here. It's a random thought passing through your mind. It's the sound of my voice right now. It's a plain old stone on the ground. It is the feeling of confusion you might be having about all this. And it's also that aha moment of understanding. It is all of it.
But then the Buddha makes this absolutely crucial point. He says there are two different ways of knowing this. One is conceptual knowledge. That's like reading a menu. You know all about the food, the ingredients, how it's cooked, but have you tasted it? No. The other way is realized knowledge. That's actually tasting the food. He's saying everything we've talked about so far, it's just the menu. The goal isn't to think about it, it's to experience it directly.
So he wraps it up by saying, you can't logic your way to this truth. You can't win it in an argument. It's something that's realized through spiritual communion, a direct personal shift in how you see everything. And why is that? Because he says, this isn't just my 2 cents. This is it. This is the final teaching of all enlightened beings. It's the ultimate truth.
And that brings us back to you. We'll end by turning Brahma's question around. If the true face of reality is everything, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly, the things you love and the things you can't stand, without any exceptions, how does that change the way you see your own world right here, right now? What looks different?